Well, welcome. I'm Brian Ballantyne, and I have Anthony Colancheco here with me. And we also are joined today by Greg Malone from GolfTec. And welcome to our podcast, Connected by Community. And we're all about community, and we're trying to bring more things to you about who we are, where we are, and what we are. And today we're real excited because this is a fun topic.
This is my favorite topic.
Your favorite topic? Yeah. Anthony's favorite topic. But see, Anthony's a pretty good golfer, so it all depends on how good you are. But we got somebody who's going to help us out with that, right? So for some of us, it's a hacking hobby, which would be me. And you'll know how good of a financial advisor I am by knowing how good my golf game is. It's really, really bad. But this man here is going to try to talk to us about that. But welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So maybe tell us a little bit about, before we jump into golf, tell us a little about yourself, who you are, and what landed you where you are.
Yeah, so I'm 26 years old, grew up kind of all over the Carolinas, went to Anderson University, which is what got me into the Greenville area, and just kind of liked the area, stuck around. At Anderson University, played college golf, played golf my whole life. Obviously, it's always been a really big passion of mine. So for a while, kind of wanted to get into the industry once I got out of college. So once I graduated, got my first job as an assistant pro at Green Valley Country Club, which is up in Travelers Rest. Worked there for a couple years while going through the PGA of America apprenticeship program. So got my membership in the PGA of America. And now I work at GolfTec, where I'm basically a golf instructor, so giving lessons, things like that.
Well, that's got to be fun.
I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, it's something that I wanted to do for a long time, like I said, and it's really been a blessing to be able to find that job that I enjoy so much.
Yeah, and this man over here...
I'm biased. I use Greg as my golf instructor, so... I appreciate you being able to join the show. So tell us a little bit about GolfTec.
Sure. Yeah, so GolfTec, our mission statement is very simple. It's just to help people play better golf. So we kind of do that in two different ways. We do lessons and we do club fittings. So the lesson side of things is helping somebody improve their own ability to be able to play the game. Obviously, swing better, chip better, putt better, all those different aspects of the game. And then on top of that, club fittings would be more, find the right equipment that would help you play the best as well. So those two aspects are, how we help people play as good as they possibly can and try to reach their potential and their goals.
So do you kind of have a one approach, or do you kind of customize it to the person, or?
Yeah, it depends on the person for sure. So the way that we start people off, we start people with what we call a swing evaluation. So basically the goal of that is, figure out what your game currently looks like, where you want to improve, what your goals are, and how we would kind of get you there. So, we might have some people that come in that are brand new to the game and want to be able to keep the ball in play and not look for it on every hole. And so, we might be primarily focusing on just make better contact and try to keep it relatively straight, and the score doesn't matter quite as much. And we have other people that are, trying to get down to scratch golfers, trying to shoot even par. And so that's going to be a little bit more, technical and trying to get people to play, as best as you possibly can.
Gotcha. What do you think maybe GolfTec offers at some other folks? There's obviously other options people have.
Sure.
That other folks aren't doing.
Yeah, I would say, part of it is our technology. We have very sophisticated cameras, launch monitors. We're able to look at different statistics and numbers and things that would, separate you from, maybe where you are to like the golfer that you want to become. And on top of that, honestly, part of what I think makes us so beneficial is we offer practice as well in our base. So people are able to come in and work on, whatever we're trying to change in their swing with the video on. And so, that's something that you don't really get anywhere else. Trying to make changes on the range can be a lot harder if you don't know if you're doing what you want to be doing.
I know you've talked to me about that before, Anthony, is just being able to see it.
Yeah, I think back in Philly, I had some golf instructors, and being able to see it side by side, even against the pros. So sometimes you'll throw that up against a pro side by side.
Right.
Just being able to see it on the screen, the mistakes that you're making, and during lessons, I'll point it out. I'm not moving my hips. I'm not getting my hands forward. You could actually start pointing out some of your mistakes. When you're on the course, you can't video yourself, so it's harder to figure out. So being able to see that on the screen kind of really helped me out.
Yeah, and my son takes lessons too, so I guess I should say bias as well. And you know, I'm not throwing him under the bus here. He knows this. He's not going to be the next Tiger Woods, but just wants to play a little bit better and feel more confident. But he said being able to, because he too has worked with some other coaches, but I think being able to see what he's doing and so I guess from an older guy to a younger guy, great compliments to you. He likes working with you because I think you're able to help him then show him those things and what to do, and it makes him feel better about his game. So I think it makes a difference.
Sure.
For sure.
What do you think are some of the common mistakes you see amateurs make?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, most people know, slicing is probably the most common thing that people struggle with, just losing the ball out into the trees on the right side. So, I mean, I'd say a solid 70% of my lessons are probably teaching people how to, close the face, get the ball started more to the left, changing their club head path to travel a different direction so that they're not going to put spin on the ball that would cause it to go to the right. So that's the most common mistake for sure. I would say the other thing is just not focusing on, some of the more important areas. People tend to focus more on, what they think they need to work on or what they think they see like YouTube videos and things like that about, but they don't focus on, where am I actually losing the most strokes in my game, which a lot of times for amateur golfers, especially higher handicap amateur golfers, it usually comes down to short game. People just don't practice it.
It's not as fun, right?
That's right. It's not nearly as fun to sit there and hit chip shots as opposed to hitting 280-yard drives. So
Right. What do you think? Is there one or two things the average golfer could do? If they're not coming out working with you, let's say, whether they don't have the time, money, whatever, they want to do some other things. Is there one or two things that people could do on their own that would maybe help them just a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I would say, that kind of goes back to what I was mentioning about, focusing on the areas where you lose the most strokes, keeping stats about your round, how many putts it takes for you to get the ball in the hole once you're on the green, sometimes how many chips you're hitting. If you're not putting that first chip on the green, that's a big issue. And looking for what's the typical miss. Is it to the right? Is it to the left? If you're not focusing on that, you might not be working on the area of your game that costs you the most strokes and you struggle with the most. So, and the other thing I would say is playing to, making good decisions, playing to your tendencies. So most people tend to set up and aim right at the pin and try to go, get the ball as close to the pin as they can. And it's a lot more beneficial to play away from trouble, try to play to not make bogeys rather than trying to play to make birdies.
It's funny you say that. Whenever I hack, because again, I don't golf, I hack. That's what I do. I play conservative. But I learned through the years, because I'm not some super golfer by any means, but I've learned to play more conservatively and don't try to, fly some water or trap that's going to be stretching my abilities or get me in trouble. And that's the one thing, when you don't play a lot, I think it makes it more enjoyable because it's not in the water, it's not so far into the woods. So
sure,
that's the one thing I guess I'm doing right.
The one thing that you helped me the most with was keeping stats. How many, as you hit off the tee box, marking, did you hit the fairway or you're in the woods? Your second shot, did you land it on the green or where at on the green? Your chip shot, your putts, just keeping those stats sort of then helps you and say, all right, this is really the area that I'm really struggling with.
Right.
The one problem that I have is I'm a fast golfer. I don't take my time. I get my measurements and I just go for it. No practice swings.
That's right. I would agree with that.
Taking your time, right?
Yeah.
Breathing.
I have to work on that. That's the next thing that I am working on is slowing down. I'm not Brooks Koepka out there.
So I guess I didn't know financial planning and golf have something in common. Keeping stats are important, I guess.
Yes.
I learned
Really
something
important.
here. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, anything else that you can think of that amateur golfers struggle with that they might need help in? You know, that you'd say, hey, this is an area that you might not think you need help, but if you came in and saw me, I can't guarantee you're going to fix it, but maybe that's where a professional could help.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would, again say it's mostly just short game, right? It's mostly just, most people come in. I mean, it's surprising sometimes how little people recognize how many strokes that they'll lose there. And so a lot of times what I'm doing, the most to help people is helping them identify, you might be losing a couple balls off the tee. You might be missing more greens than you ideally want to, but you're taking 3 putts to get the ball in the hole once you hit the green 9 times around. That's where you could probably cut the most shots out the quickest as well, because it's a little easier to be able to practice putting and change things in your putting stroke as opposed to like a full swing that's moving a lot faster and has a lot more moving pieces.
Yeah, gotcha.
You talked about club fitting. And I think a lot of people overlook that part of the puzzle. Me particular at first. I bought clubs that I probably shouldn't have been swinging. And I see a lot of that in amateurs. The new things come out, they're going to buy it. How important is club fitting?
Oh, it's incredibly important. And you're right. It's overlooked. It's underestimated. I think a common misconception is people think that they have to be a great golfer, be able to just, make perfect contact every time for a club fitting to matter. But club fittings can help with that too. Having the club that's the right length, that has the right amount of forgiveness for your skill level, has the right type of shaft. If you don't swing the club fast enough to play a steel stiff shaft, then you probably aren't going to make very good contact if you're playing with that type of club. So those are things that we're looking for that'll help you make better contact. The right, head design will help higher your ball flight, lower your ball flight to where, you're either you have a more piercing ball flight that gets through the wind a little bit better or stops on the green a little bit sooner. Those things are very important to being able to shoot better scores. So if you're not playing with the right clubs, it's definitely a hindrance to your game.
So if I'm me and I don't play extremely well, that's something if I say, hey, I could come in and work with you to just essentially work on that to start off with. Is that something you can do?
Sure. Yeah. We have a lot of people that come in and just do club fittings. And, a lot of people maybe don't have the time or the dedication to really want to work on their swing. So for people like that, the best thing for them would probably be just find a club that kind of matches with your swing as best as possible.
Buy your way in on 5 or 10 strokes is what you're saying. That's what I'm.
That's right.
So, and I guess the question there is, I mean, do you have to drop a small fortune on clubs, or are there economical things for the golfer who's not an avid golfer?
Sure. I mean, to get the ones that are, perfectly fitted to you, it's definitely going to be expensive. And it's, getting more and more expensive every year. But what I typically tell people is, kind of like Anthony was talking about, everybody kind of wants to have the newest, greatest thing. And a lot of longtime golfers will end up spending, a pretty good amount of money over the course of 3 or 4 years on clubs. Whereas if you just said, okay, I'm going to go one time and pay to get fitted and pay to get one set of clubs, it's going to last you a long time. You're not going to need to upgrade, and you're not going to spend any more than you probably would if you're just buying the new driver every year.
Gotcha. Might need to come see you.
What are a few things that, folks that don't have the time, but they do go to the range maybe, some of the techniques are that you could sort of hint, hey, this is what you should practice at the range?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'd say the first thing on the range is, always have a goal and focus on something. Too many people get out there and are just hitting balls. So, always have a goal, a drill that you're doing, have a target that you're aiming at. That's one of the mistakes I see amateurs make the most when they're practicing. As far as technique, I mean, going back to, most people slice the ball. we tend to focus a lot more on like club face to make changes at first for amateur golfers. So the majority of golfers, if you've researched like slicing and stuff like that, most people think it's going to be mostly a club head path thing, which is definitely going to affect it. But a lot of times the face is going to be more important. If you can learn how to, if you're a slicer, you would leave the face open so it's kind of pointed to the right. If you can learn how to close the face and get it pointed more to the left, it's going to help you to minimize the slice and eventually train your body to want to swing more to the right to take away any like right spin that you put on the ball from swinging across it.
So no driver every time?
No driver every time. No. Change clubs.
They need to change the name to the driving range then.
That's right.
The chipping range.
The chipping range.
Probably be better, wouldn't it?
That's right. It probably would.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've learned so far going to GolfTec was sort of when I do go to that range, I do sort of have a goal in mind, and I don't start with the driver. I start with chipping. I pick a flag. I hit 5 or 10 balls to that flag, and then I move on to another flag, and you sort of get in that routine. And some of the things that you want me to practice on is really going through that routine and technique and trying to figure it out. So I don't think I've hit the driver once on the driving range so far.
You don't even take it out?
No.
Ah.
I try to work on my short game because it is true. That's where I struggle the most.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say a lot of people benefit almost immediately when they start taking lessons because their practice transforms into being focused on something. And I think that's one of the coolest things that I get to see is, even without making changes to the swing, when you're actually thinking about what you want to do and where you want to hit the ball, and you're not just sitting there rapid firing as many shots as you can in an hour, you start to improve because you're actually thinking about what you are trying to do.
See, I'm sitting here. This is the financial planner to me. It sounds like financial planning, right? So people improve what they're doing. It's just amazing the similarities that whatever your profession or vocation, probably a lot of people,
Sure.
You can think about this because I could say the exact same thing that Anthony and I see day in, day out when people focus and have a plan and they do these things. So,
Yeah.
Sorry to piggyback on that, but
No,
that was
that's a great
kind of cool for me
observation.
to
Yeah.
So that if I just think of financial planning and I come see you, then maybe I'll do a little better.
That's right.
We should have just brought our clubs and just did a full blown.
Well, I thought you were going to bring one. We talked about that. We could have done a couple swings back here. Maybe we'll have you back and we can do a demo session.
There
or
you
something
go.
like
That'd be
that.
great.
Maybe we'll have you demo and we'll watch. Something like, something kind of back to personal stuff we were talking about before we started our podcast day. You got some exciting stuff coming up here in the next week or so, right?
I do. Yeah. My wife and I have been building a house. We'll be closing on it in about a week. So we're really excited about that.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And
Thank you.
that's exciting stuff. And you'll enjoy it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're really excited. It'll be our first house. So we're ready to get in there.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the audience how they can get a hold of you? What website? Where could they go?
Sure. Yeah. So our website is golftec.com. So you can look us up, kind of see what we're about, how lessons work, all the information about us. You can give us a call. You'll be able to find all of our contact info for our specific Greenville location on our website. So you can give us a call, send us an email, submit your information through there, and we'll contact you to get you started, whether you're looking for, just doing a club fitting, coming in for that initial swing evaluation. We'll get all that on the schedule.
Right, where are you located?
So our facility is located on Pelham Road, which is right off of the interstate. So if you know where Top Golf is, most golfers know where Top Golf is. It's across the interstate from Top Golf.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, I got one last important question because it's supposed to be our really most important question.
Sure.
And you can answer it however you want. So what makes you tick?
Oh, man. I would say, I get a lot of joy out of seeing people enjoy the game more that I've grown a passion for. And that's kind of why I started doing what I did. I got into becoming a coach when I was in college. I coached a high school golf team for a little while, and drastic improvement over the course of just 3 or 4 months, which, coaching high school golf, you don't really get much time to like make swing changes and stuff. So it was mostly like make good decisions, hit the clubs that you're comfortable with, stuff like that. And the kids on average dropped about 11 and a half strokes over the course of the season off their scores over 9 holes. So
awesome.
Seeing that really got me excited. I got a lot of joy out of that. And I just was like, man, this is what I want to do, forever.
Yeah.
And so that's what got me into being a coach. And that's what I love to see now is people exceeding the expectations that they had for their game.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel the passion. I tell my kids that. Find something you're passionate about and feel that way, and it won't feel like a job, right?
That's right.
So now we're going to golf right after this?
Yeah, maybe so. Well, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I've learned a lot, and I've learned I'm at least going to go pay to have a couple strokes taken off maybe or something like that. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining Connected by Communities, brought to you by Valentine Capital Advisors. Please like us, join us, share us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Until we see you next time, go out and make our community great.